Welcome back, Freelancers. Undefeated Rescue, and we're continuing with the the gear showcasing. Today we're on the Storm. As you can see, there's a bunch of people in here. Let's give them a nice suit. Give them a thumbs up. All right, we'll head out. Let's go into free play. Tarsus. Switch it back to GM1. As you can see, no consumables and launch expedition.
Searching through all incoming reports for suitable event markers.
Sounds good.
Alright, just doing a little bit of a warm-up. Make sure I still can do the blanks. Nice. Okay. So, we'll go ahead and go to the Forge. We're on the Storm again. And we are continuing with the Blast Seal. So I believe the first one we did was Venomous Blaze, and then the last video we did was Pondering Infinity. Today we're going over Winter's Wrath. Winter's Wrath. So this has been kind of a kind of a splitting of the Storm main community for a little while now. A lot of Storm main, so a lot of people will say that Binary Star is the best, especially for primers. But another part of the community will go and say Winter's Wrath is actually really good. So they do two completely different things, but they're both primers. I use both of them in different builds. I think it just depends on your build, but we'll go ahead and discuss Winter's Wrath today. So it's an upgraded Ice Storm. Detonates a series of icy explosions on the target location, and then the Masterwork perk is Ice Storm permanently has more charges and recharges faster. So basically, it's a primer that can freeze targets, and it permanently gets additional charges on top of a faster recharge rate. Let me check, see how many you start with, because this one doesn't have any charges on it. So if you have a Masterwork or Legendary one, you get 6 charges as donated right here. But we'll switch back to the other one, because this one's got a bit of damage on it. Granted, it doesn't do a lot of damage. It does about 1500, which is pretty standard for most primers, but it does do damage. So as a wind or frost or ice primer, it actually does pretty good damage. It recharges 3, which is really good. It has a radius of 6, which is a little higher than normal, and then it has ice effective 100, which pretty much means it should instantly freeze whatever it hits. And then I'm utilizing the one I've got that's got some charge on it, because I like to use this with a detonator. So I like to spam and freeze a bunch of groups and then try to detonate a bunch of groups with it. I do have one that's got some damage to help my other gear slot have more damage or be more powerful. But I'm going to go ahead and go with this one just so I can constantly just spam it all over the place. So we'll see what's going on over to Necropolis and do some testing.
Distress call, a Strider. Hard to make out. Sounds bad.
Okay, cool. Here we go. See if we got some brutes out here. Nope, no brutes, no compounds. That's why. Oh, we got some compound down here, though. Nice. Alright, we're heading in. Oh, nice salvage. Just keep my eye on this Tesla. Oh! Oh, I got some weapon parts. Nice. Okay, while they load in, we'll kind of go over what the plan is. So, GM1, I expected to do a lot of damage because it's GM1 and I'm using a legendary javelin. So, I shouldn't have a lot of issues here. What I kind of want to do is showcase how I can freeze larger groups, because that's really the way you want to use it, is for freezing groups and then immobilizing them. And then from there, sorry, I just want to turn the volume down a little bit. I can just go in and detonate them, but I'll kind of like showcase how the freezing effect is really its stronger strong suit. All right, here we go. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, so as you can see, instantly frozen, and it did do damage to him. And then the cool thing about this is I can just hold it. So, pretty neat. And I've still got a decent amount of charges left. Yeah, they go down pretty easy. And it takes down shield pretty well too. It took about 2 shots from Winter Wrath to take down the shield. So that's pretty neat. Inherently, most ice or frost gear pieces don't actually do damage, but this one actually does have a decent amount of damage on it. Let's see if we can find a group. And I'm out of charges. Okay. Okay. So nothing too crazy. Pretty standard. Oh, here we go. This is what we're looking for. So I can get a whole group down here because I'm a storm. I can detonate this, and it'll chain all the individuals in the area. And because I have frozen all of them, I can keep doing that over and over and over. Now, these individuals, these little outlaws right here, they're not actually primed anymore, but this is because of the chaining effect. However, I can just freeze them all over again and just keep dishing out the damage. And I'm using Steam Vent with this one. You don't have to use Steam Vent. You could use Black Ice. But it's up to you. So really good at handling groups. And because it has damage on it, it will actually take down their shields enough that you can keep spamming it on them. And use it as a way to get rid of their pesky little shields. And then prime them as well. I'm going to go ahead and take out this ice elementalist real quick. Yeah. Alright. So, does pretty good damage against armored enemies. Definitely freezes them. And it pretty much took one out with all the charges I have. I have a lot of charges on this one. But still, you're typically not going to be using this just to, like, as your main DPS. You could, because it does decent damage in GM1. We'll see what it does in GM2 when we get there, but right now it's pretty it's performing pretty well all around. Okay. So we'll just wipe out the rest of the grunts and then we'll take on that storm. Well, we'll go ahead and just... Oh, let me take this guy out real quick. Okay. So doing alright taking their shield down. It's freezing them. Well, it looks like even though they're under the frozen effect, they might have enough resist if they can move around. No, it's taking them down pretty well. Okay. So we'll let me get my charges back, and then we'll go up against the ranger. So it took about 8 shots from Winter's Wrath to take down their shield. Oh, okay. And then they are getting primed with frozen, and they are actually frozen. So they're actually under the effects of ice right now. So typically, we've had issues in the past where they, whoops, I didn't want to hit them with that, where they would get primed, but it wouldn't really affect them. So Winter's Wrath is affecting this javelin right here. Not doing a lot of damage, but like I said, it's not a primary source of DPS. But the cool thing is I could just hold them there. I just keep hitting them with it. So this is kind of similar to Venomous Blaze, if you remember that one, where it creates an area and then you can just continuously burst on that area. The only thing about Venomous Blaze was you had to hit them with 3 consecutive hits before they would prime with acid damage. And here, you can pretty much, one hit freezes anything inside that dome. The trajectory area of it freezes anything in there. So, although it's frost damage, so all it really does is freezes the enemies. It does a little bit of damage, where with Venomous Blaze, because it was acid effect, it would add a modifier to the damage. So we'll back out of this and head into GM3. Yeah, not a lot of gear. And when I say not a lot of gear, it's because I'm intentionally trying not to pick up a lot of gear. It's not that the game doesn't give you a lot of gear. If I wanted to stick around, I would have definitely gotten some more. I try not to pick much up, so that way when I'm in this loading screen, so we're in GM3, no consumables. But the main reason I'm trying not to pick up all that gear when it lands is because I just don't want to have to sit here and dismantle it while slowing down the process of getting back into GM3.
Here we go, Freelancer. I'll update you when I find a situation that needs your talents.
Okay, understood.
Ooh. I saw some compound over there. Okay. Oh, I keep forgetting that's where that is. Okay, there we go. Let's take a look, see if anyone's over at the Necropolis. No one is, so we'll head over there real quick. Looks like someone's in the general area, but I don't think they're doing anything. I think they're just doing farming somewhere else. Oh wow, there's an event over here. And some compound, alright. We'll see if the salvage is over here, and then we'll just kind of hang out and wait for the outlaws to spawn in while we discuss what the plan is. Ah, no salvage. Nope. Okay, so while they spawn in, we'll go over what the plan is. So I'm gonna go in here. I don't expect Winter's Wrath to do a lot of damage. Like I said, it's not really. I don't think it's really intended to be a damage. Anything above GM1, I don't think it's intended to be a high DPS gear piece. I'm pretty much just gonna show like what kind of damage it does against the grunts, and then I'm just gonna start clearing them out, and then we'll clear out hopefully enough to get the armored enemies come in, and we'll kind of show it there. Then once we get through them, we'll work on a storm javelin and then the ranger javelin. All right, here we go. Oh, wrong one again. So it doesn't even look like he's freezing them. He is frozen. It's hard to tell right now. They are technically frozen. It's doing about the same amount of damage against them though, but as you can see, like they've got a lot more damage now because it's GM3, so that's just how it goes. GM3 is no walk in the park. Even for my jab, which is pretty much like maxed out. So let's see how it does against shields. I think I was just missing him that whole time. Yeah, I was. Okay. Handles large groups really well still. And you can see the chaining effect. As far as shields go, it's about the same for shields as it is for the grunts like health. It doesn't do a lot of damage. Okay, yep. It's what we kind of expected. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just start clearing a lot of these grunts out and then see if we can get the armored enemies to spawn. Okay. So it's pretty good. It's a pretty good setup to use like this, where you kind of just freeze them, detonate them, and then change the other enemies, freeze them, detonate them. And then this one, even though they have the chain effect happen, they're not actually primed. If you give them a second, you can prime them, and then detonate them as well. So this is where it really shines, in my opinion, is I can freeze a small group, detonate them, and then it'll reach out to almost all the others. Like it reached out to all these guys up here and froze them. So it's really good about helping with crowd control. Unfortunately, these individuals are shielded, so they're not going to get the chaining effects. Okay, so there's the ranger. Just have to kind of be careful what we're doing here. Oh. Alright, so we've got two frost storms. So we'll kind of pull back, get our shield back. Alright, the ranger's up top. I just want to go ahead and take one of these storms out real quickly. Alright, so that right there is an armored enemy. It doesn't really seem to be doing anything. It's doing about 2,500 damage against them, but because they're so tanky, it doesn't appear to be doing a lot. Let me get my shield back real quick. Alright, so... So it still freezes them. It'll still prime the armored, just like it would with the rest of the outlaws. But it doesn't do a lot. Even though it's doing good damage against, it's doing the exact same damage against the armored as it is the normal outlaws. but it's still not a lot because, as you can see, they're armored, so they obviously have a lot more armor and a lot more resistance. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna run on my volleys, and they're still not even gonna be at half health, so I'll just go ahead and kill them, and then we'll try and find the storm javelin. Ooh, wow. Okay, storm javelin. So, yeah, frost usually doesn't do a lot against shields. Let me get back over here so I'm not getting peppered by both of them. And the cool thing about this is you don't really have to have super good line of sight to do this. As you can see, I'm actually able to use the trajectory of it from behind cover. So it took a while to get their shield down with this, but it can definitely happen. And as far as damage numbers go, it doesn't do very good damage in GM3 either. It's like it's been doing. It was pretty much doing the exact same damage it was doing in GM1, but because these enemies are more spongy, or they have a lot more health, it's really hard to put them down with just this. However, they are under the effects of ice right now, so I could just instantly put them down. Okay. So it seems like it's doing really good damage against their shield, but it's still it's just not enough, because inherently you can see, like, would it take about 5 to just get the shield to a third? Oh, I missed. Okay. So I'm trying to get their shield down right now so I can show you what it does against their armor. Oh. Wow, their shield's just not going down. Okay, about to do their ult. Alright, shield should be down. So, it definitely does a reduced or armor against, or it does reduce damage against armor. It's only doing about 2,000. However, right now they are in fact frozen. I know the effects aren't showing right now, but you can kind of tell. Let me just take their shield down really quickly again. Alright, shield down. We'll go ahead and freeze them. So yeah, you could have like 100 charges of this, and you are not going to take them down with just this alone. Alright. So we'll go up here and kind of have a discussion about Winter's Wrath. So, it's a pretty standard, straightforward primer. There's nothing really special about it other than the fact that it's frost, so it will freeze targets in place. It doesn't do a lot of damage, so its animation is almost the same as Venomous Blaze, where it takes a second for it to charge up, and then it takes a second for it to ignite. So it's still not bad. I would say it's a little bit below average as far as speed goes. It's not nearly as efficient as Tactical Onslaught, which, like, this is about the equivalent of the animation for Tactical Onslaught to get one off, where here it feels like it's almost about 2/3 of, or Tactical Onslaught is only about 2/3 of the animation that Winter's Wrath has, so it's not very quick. Although the difference between Tactical Onslaught and Winter's Wrath is, with Tactical Onslaught, you're hitting one target in an area. You might get lucky and they might be kind of grouped up and you might incidentally hit a couple at most. But with Winter's Wrath, there's a dome here, so it hits anything pretty much within this dome. And because it's a storm, once they detonate a combo, almost anybody in that area will get chained with that specific primer. So then they'll be under the effects of Winter's Wrath, which means they'll all be frozen. So it's really good at crowd control. I'll give it that. It's very good for crowd control, and especially if you're going solo, or even if you're with a team and you're in a room that has a lot of enemies. I'm thinking like the Heart of Rage, that final room where right before you go into the monitor, where there's a ton of the minion that spawn in there. If you freeze one of them with this and then detonate it, it combos, or when you detonate it with the combo, it will chain to all the other enemy types in there. So it's really helpful for dealing with groups. So let's go through some box checking real quick. Is it efficient? I mean, so it's more efficient than Venomous Blaze. So if you're a fan of Venomous Blaze, it's more efficient than that. The difference between Venomous Blaze and Winter's Wrath, I feel like, are the two that are the most similar in this gear slot, because they both have a similar radius. They both will put enemies under priming effect, even though Winter's Wrath is a primer and technically Venomous Blaze is not. This one does it a lot quicker though, because one hit and they're frozen. Where with Venomous Blaze, you have to do 3 consecutive hits before you can apply the acid effect. So I definitely am gonna say it's efficient. It's more so efficient than most of the Storm's gear. Is it viable? Oh yeah, it's gonna be viable. Any primer that I think I'm gonna run is gonna have a place, unless it's like so hard to use, which this really isn't hard to use. You could just sit up here and just keep dropping it on like groups of enemy. You don't even have to detonate them right away. You could just come up here, just freeze an entire group, and then after you've frozen enough, just come up here and then start detonating. And then because of the way that the Storm's chaining ability works, you can just chain it around to even more of them and just keep continuing. So I feel like in both those aspects it's really good. Is it fun? Well, this is where I kind of deviate. I know normally I'm just like, yeah, everything's fun. This typically is in my wheelhouse as being fun, and I have used this build quite a bit. But it's not very challenging to me, so I get kind of bored by things like that. So like, I actually enjoy the challenge with the Ranger of using Ember's Lance to get off like 3 consecutive hits, then throwing an aid to get a 4th consecutive hit, which primes them with acid and then detonates them because the grenade is a detonator. So I like that. It's really complicated and it's very hard to pull off from time to time. But that's where your mileage is going to vary, because I like Venomous Blaze honestly more, in my opinion. I like pushing myself to get that prime, that 3-hit streak prime, and then detonating them. Where with this, it's pretty straightforward. You just freeze them, detonate them, freeze them, detonate them. So I think it will be fun. It's just, for me, it's kind of it's a little bit too much just back and forth. Like freeze, detonate. Like, to me, that's not super fun, but it's very effective and it's very efficient. So therefore, I think your mileage will vary on the fun factor. I'm gonna say it is fun. But like I said, you may be into that, you may not be. As far as, do I think it's a good buy if it comes through in the store? I definitely think it is. I recommend trying to pick one up. Don't worry too much about like the charges, because inherently it has a good amount of charges on it already. So it comes with, I think we said 6 charges, and well, the Masterwork and Legendary version come with 6 charges. And then it also has a quicker cooldown. So where the cooldown is 3 right now, it actually has a faster recharge on its own. So anything that is going to prime and has quicker recharges, or more charges in general, is going to be really good, and it's going to be really helpful to you, especially when you're grinding through GM1 up to GM3. That's always going to be a helpful perk to have on your stuff. So I definitely recommend it. I wouldn't worry too much about specific rolls that you're getting on it right away. I wouldn't try to just dump a ton of coin in, trying to get like the best rolls possible, because the 2 I have are just kind of meh. There's nothing, they're not super powerful, and they don't have a ton of charges on them. So those are kind of what I'm grinding for right now, is trying to get one of those that has like 100 gear charges on it. But at the same time, like the one I've got is actually both of the 2 I've got are very usable as is. So I would get one in the store, see how you like it on the Storm, and then just play around with it. And if you really, really, really want to get a crazy amount of rolls or damage rolls or gear charge rolls, that's up to you if you want to spend that coin in the store. I would hold off and wait till you get really good drops, or try to utilize Guardian tokens to try and get something like that. So I'm gonna end it there. Undefeated Rescue, and I'll see you guys out in Bastion.